Hey guys, it is Chris and it is episode 42. Do you know that I'm doing 90 days of continuous videos, like 90 days in a row?
I've been following you and I've been enjoying it.
That's like weekends too, that includes. So I'm with my friend Faraz from SafeWire / SafeChain. SafeWire is I'll let Faraz talk about SafeWire and I'm going to let him talk about his experience, but what we're going to talk about today is just, a lot of you aren't necessarily out there and aren't in the real estate space or even looking to do anything with real estate, but there's a lot going on right now that you should all be aware of and concerned about with wire fraud. So it's something that's on the top of mind for all of us professionals in the space. But if you're a consumer, how wire fraud can potentially affect you is something we should all be fairly knowledgeable about and share with you all. So that's the value we're trying to bring today, is share with you what's going on inside the space. So Faraz, welcome.
Yes. Awesome.
So glad you're here. So share a little bit about your background. So you're with SafeWire currently, but what were you doing before that?
Yeah, so my background, I've been in real estate for about 9 or 10 years. Right out of undergrad, actually my 5th year of college, I bought my first property.
Wow.
So that was my entry into real estate, the whole rich dad, poor dad kind of thing. And since then, I've been a landlord, I've been a real estate agent, I've been an investor, and I've been, a house flipper, rental manager, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes full-time, sometimes on the side. In addition to that, I've worked with, at technology companies, startups, big companies, small companies, building new technology for different industries. At SafeWire, I am a product manager, and my role is to bring technology and apply it to the real estate industry, and specifically wire fraud as it relates to title companies.
So for those of you that aren't familiar with wire fraud and what's been happening, this has been a problem that really started to divulge itself back in 2016-ish or so. And we have these like international crime syndicates, for lack of a better description, that are operating basically out of Nigeria and have operations here in the US. And they're doing things like infesting, for lack of a better word, real estate agents' email accounts. So they're getting in, like real estate agents it's really easy to find their email accounts because they're all public. And a lot of them don't have really good or safe passwords or two-factor verifications, that sort of thing. And so they're getting in there, they're penetrating, and then they're acting like the real estate agent to a buyer or a seller or to a title office. And then that title office doesn't think that much of it. And they real estate agent says, hey, my buyer Faraz is, my seller Faraz wants their funds sent to this routing number, this account, and the title company says, all right, cool. Doesn't think anything of it. Sure. They do it, and lots of money has been lost. Now, that's kind of how it started. Now it's kind of marinated or maneuvered into a bunch of different areas. Do you want to share a little bit about what you're seeing now, like what's happening in real time, that if you're an agent or you're a lender or you're another title company or a consumer that you may not be aware of? Like, sure. What's the newest iteration?
Yeah, so the most prevalent example of wire fraud in the industry is through email hacking or impersonating emails. Real estate agents are the most susceptible in the entire process. Title agencies have processes in place, and they have business addresses and security measures set up. They call and verify things. But as real estate agents, and I'm also a real estate agent, by the way, so speaking from experience, we're out running around, we're out looking for the next deal, we're out making sure contracts are signed and sent to the right people. We're not internet security, cybersecurity professionals. So we are at most risk, and the hackers know that. Today, believe it or not, real estate agents, their email addresses are the most likely to be scammed during this process. But hackers have evolved to not only impersonate the real estate agent's address, but they're also impersonating the title company, they're impersonating the buyer and the seller, and they're doing it via phone as well. They are calling in to the various parties and saying, hey, I'm a representative of the seller, I'm a representative of ABC Brokerage. I've sent you updated wiring instructions, did you get it? And so that's a little bit of the evolution. So Before, you could call and verify information. Oh, I didn't get that email, and hopefully you catch it in time. But now, you don't even necessarily know who you're calling or who's calling you. So there has to be a better method using technology and using processes to prevent wire fraud in the entire process. What we're doing at SafeWire, we understand that real estate is not a one-way street. There are multiple parties involved in the transaction, sensitive information being shared between buyer, seller, agent, attorney, title, county. All of these people are involved in this transaction. And so what we've done is created a product and a process that is, in lack of better terms, an airtight process for authenticating the parties in the transaction, authenticating bank information.
So how? So talk.
Sure.
So share with folks how that process actually.
Yeah,
works.
it's actually at the simplest terms. When a title officer receives the contract from a real estate agent, the title officer receives the contact information from the agent of the seller and the buyer. They will send out a request to the client asking them to authenticate themselves. So a seller or a buyer will sign in to SafeWire. We will also send a text message called two-factor authentication to verify that the person is who they say they are in multiple ways.
How hard is it of a process for my buyer and seller? So if I'm a real estate agent and I say to my title company, cool, I want you to protect my people, like use this technology, like I get it, like we're all susceptible. But my concern is my buyer or seller may not be the most tech savvy. How difficult is it?
If your buyer or seller has a cell phone, that's pretty much all they need. Cell phone and an email address. It's very user-friendly. The process can be completed on your web browser in a couple clicks or on your cell phone. And you can actually flip between the two. We made it very user-friendly, and the whole process takes 1 to 3 minutes. So going back to the example, a seller would sign in, they type in some authentication code that they get, they can easily upload a picture or take a picture of their driver's license, which is very important for their authentication as well. And then for our seller, we go a step further and we connect and authenticate the checking account where they want to receive their funds. And we use a system for that. And that's very important because we want to make sure that the seller owns the checking account of where they want to get the money. And by going through these several verification methods, it's almost unlikely, or we like to say it's unlikely at all, that a hacker would be able to replicate or get through all of these security grade measures.
So you're verifying who they are and probably more importantly where they are and that they have access to the accounts that they say they have access to.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the reason we built the product and the process in this way is because today wire instructions are shared via so many different methods, over the phone, over text, over email. Some clients send their information to the real estate agent, the real estate agent sends it back and forth, or even their attorney sends it back and forth. This creates a single, secure process to verify that the money is going to go to the right place. Hackers are very good at intercepting emails, replacing the PDF or the attachment with their own checking account information. And once that money gets into their account, it gets very difficult to get it back.
They're converting it to Bitcoin.
Yeah, they convert it quickly. Well, when a hacker gets the money in their account, they immediately transfer it overseas. FBI is putting in some measures in place to stop that. But if it's under $1 million, which, I mean, most people are doing, the FBI doesn't really step in.
Well, and they don't have the bandwidth.
They don't have the bandwidth, and you're kind of lower importance, so we're kind of left holding the bag.
The most recent one I've been hearing about and reading about is now it's coming in via fax.
Yeah.
So there's title offices, like fax is still a thing, and they're faxing over fake payoffs to title offices. So title offices are getting these fake payoffs, and they look like legitimate, legitimate faxes that come over on a mortgage payoff, and those monies are going in the wrong place, and it's incredibly difficult. Plus now, especially for real estate agents, like if the real estate agent is getting intercepted, they have liability.
Correct.
So there's been recent court cases that have said like you're liable for those funds that your clients lose. So it's a still a massive, substantial issue that's really still morphing and changing.
Sure.
And evolving.
And I was doing research, and there was a court case in June of this year in Kansas where a brokerage was found liable for 85% of the fraud in the transaction.
Yeah.
It was hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And if you read into the details, all they did was forward an email that went to an incorrect email address, and it's a big gray area, but they were still held liable.
Yeah.
So it's hugely important.
Yeah, somebody's going to pay, and everybody's getting sued.
Correct.
So if you're a party to this, everybody at some point is getting sued by it.
Yeah, and then the way our court systems work, consumers generally get the favorable judgment by the judge. So as business owners, as real estate agents, as title people, as attorneys, this is even more important. At SafeWire, we're also, we believe in our process so much. We believe in our security. We use a bank rating security so much that we back up all of our transactions or all of our verifications with a $1 million fraud-free guarantee. So that means is if you're a buyer or a seller, or you're an agent and your client goes through the SafeWire verification process, and there is an event of wire fraud, which we believe won't happen, we will back that up to $1 million.
Cool. So it's I'm glad you pointed that out, and I want to also point out that we're using it on all of our transactions now. So we're pushing it hard with our clients, with our real estate agents, with our lenders, to let them know that this isn't just a value add and a security thing for us, the title office. Like, this is a value add and security piece for the real estate agent. It's a differentiator for them, for the 7,000 other local real estate agents here in Central Ohio. How many of them are actually using technology to help keep their customers safe and their customers' funds safe? So massive value differentiators out there.
Yeah, and just as a last word of advice, I mean, you have to stay vigilant as a real estate agent. You have to stay vigilant on behalf of your clients. They're entrusting you to be the experts in the transaction. I know that you guys have some lunch and learns coming up.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to be reaching out to our clients to start, and then we're going to be reaching out more largely to brokerages throughout the state to open them up to doing lunch and learns around wire fraud prevention, what technology is available, including technology like SafeWire, and then how do we use it to create a safer industry for our consumers. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, all of us are in this together to create better consumer experiences. And if our consumers are losing money because of wire fraud, then that is not a good consumer experience. Ultimately, that's going to be the thing that's going to measure how successful we are as an industry versus how disruptible we are as an industry.
That's true. What we're recommending to agents, and I'm sure you do as well, is to agents, you have to introduce the issue and educate your customers about wire fraud as early on in the process. So when you're signing that engagement contract, or when you're talking to potential buyers and sellers, educate yourself, educate your customers, let them know that, hey, if they get a weird email or a weird phone call from you or from some agency, to think twice before sending any funds and accepting it. Yeah. That's absolutely the best way to prevent wire fraud, is up front. Yeah. And then we promote working with title offices that use SafeWire, and then say, hey, the only way you're going to send and receive wiring instructions with your title office is through SafeWire, not text, not phone, not email. Yeah. And then, just a safe measure, call and verify and make sure they got it and you got it. Yeah. At all, before sending, tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, for sure. This is absolutely a people problem. This is a people plus technology solution. This idea that is only a people problem is wrong. And the idea that it's only a technology problem is wrong. This is a people plus a technology solution, and we are excited to get it out there and implement it.
Awesome.
So thanks for popping in today.
Absolutely.
Saying hi. Episode 42, 43 coming tomorrow. Hopefully this is bringing some value to you all. And if you have any questions, let myself or Faraz know. We're here to be a resource and a value to you all. Even you. Cool. Thanks,
All
brother.
right.
Appreciate it. We're signing off.